Happy weekend, Knicks Nation. Coming on about 5 minutes earlier than anticipated. I've learned from the previous times of doing this that I want to give everybody time to come in because we'll start down a path of a subject and then we'll have to start over because a lot of people come in later and then didn't hear the beginning and didn't get involved with it. And so, first of all, welcome to you all, Knicks Nation. I hope that this Sunday finds you safe and healthy, and that your family is also safe and healthy, and that you're enjoying your weekend. I hope also that in terms of food and shelter and clothing, as well as those things, those basic necessities, your needs are being met today. Salute to the chat, Wilton, Cash Out, James, JTA, JJ, Jose Vasquez, peace and shalom to all of you. Again, I hope you're enjoying your weekend, that you had a good, so far, Friday night, Saturday night. Today is Sunday. Everybody goes back to work, usually mostly tomorrow. And so I hope that you all are really enjoying your weekend. Weekends are big time for most people because you get a little chance to relax, regroup, get ready for the next week of work. That's the case with me for sure. And again, I just want to hope that you all are doing well. My father, just for you all that have asked, he's settling in his independent living facility. At first, I was concerned, and I guess I'm still slightly concerned because he was complaining a lot about the food. He was complaining about the place, and all that. And I was very nearly, I'd say maybe 2 weeks ago, ready to pull him out of there and bring him back home. But his wife, my stepmother, who was like a mother, they've been married 42 years. She's like, I ain't leaving. And so he's like, well, he said he's going to wait and just see how he adjusts to it and give it some time. So I told him, we touch base on his feelings about the place every 3 months or so. And I'm finding that over the last 2 weeks, he really is adjusting well and getting used to it. I stop over and I bring him a little something he likes when I, make a steak, and I bring him a little piece of the steak, and I bring him fruit. Down here in Florida, we live next to a really good fruit stand, and sometimes they get some, they get the freshly grown, locally grown fruit, and so he likes fruit. I like fruit, so I bring him, some fruit, and that makes him happy, and my wife makes him some Puerto Rican style beans, and that makes him happy, and so we're just trying to get him acclimated. He's getting acclimated. So, it is what it is. But I want to thank you all for your well wishes. That has went well. We've settled into the house. We're still, fixing stuff and putting stuff together. But I'd say we are good, conservatively 75, 80% done. And we're just continuing to do that, continuing to build that up. All right. So thank you all again for your well wishes. Today, I wanted to, and again, welcome to the chat. I see some other people came in. Jamesy Moore, Superstar, my brother, Blair V, South Brooklyn, Guilford McCormick. It's me, Carlos Delgado, my man, Andrew Abraham. Welcome to all of you. Yeah, I'm wearing the muscle shirt today. Because I'm hoping to work out later. That's why I put it on. I'm hoping to work out later. And I'm trying to get prepared for that for later. That's what we're doing. So I'm trying to make it all as streamlined as possible. But today, I wanted to touch base on some things. First off, training camp is next week. Training camp starts next week. What day, we're not sure. We do know that Tuesday, October 4th is the first preseason game. The Knicks have 4 preseason games. 3 of them are at Madison Square Garden, which is really good. And I will talk about that. And then they're going to have to make decisions about who's going to make the team. And then, in terms of the rotation. So these decisions have to be made. Now, back in the day, I know some of y'all will remember, back in the day, they used to play a lot more preseason games. There'd be like 10 preseason games. I remember back in the day, maybe more even, but they played about 10 preseason games usually to get ready for a season. Training camp came a week before, maybe 2 weeks before their first preseason game. And then and really back in the day, players used to use the training camp and the preseason to actually get in shape. Okay. It wasn't until you started seeing guys like Michael Jordan and then Kobe Bryant that would really be fanatical about working out all year round. And the summers were used to get in, and they weren't getting in shape in training camp. They came to training camp in shape. Whereas that was part of actually the beef between Kobe and Shaq. Kobe would always have this philosophy: if you weren't working as hard as I am, don't expect me to pass you the ball. That was his philosophy. But he knew he had to include Shaq, right? Because Shaq was the big dog. But Shaq wasn't into coming into camp in shape. In fact, there was one year they had won 2 or 3 chips in a row, and he came into camp 320 pounds and out of shape, and then he hurt his toe, and that him and Kobe's relationship was really strained at that point because Kobe didn't appreciate him not working as hard as Kobe did, right? Very few people outwork Kobe, but at that point, there was a trend started where players were now, if you wanted to be like Mike or you wanted to be like Kobe, you had to really push your workout game up to a year-round basis and don't wait to camp to come in shape. Well, you bring that to a new level when you're dealing with a Tom Thibodeau. So when you're dealing with a Tom Thibodeau, there's certain things, and that's, I know that in Knicks Nation, there is, yes, and we're going to talk about Ian Begley and the expanded role for Emmanuel Quickley that Ian mentioned. We're going to talk about that as well when we talk about playing time and rotations. We're going to talk about that. So, but when you're talking about a Tom Thibodeau, in Knicks Nation, there tend, people, this is sports. Sports is entertainment. And so people's emotions get up in the entertainment as part of the game, as part of, enjoying it. You're getting your emotions in it, right? But if we're going to be analysts about the game and about our team, we have to try to speak more fairly, more squarely in terms of emotion. Be more like Ian Begley. Ian Begley's a reporter, and he don't put out no crap. He just reports what it is, right? And so you got to be a little bit more like that in terms of looking at your team in a more squarely fair situation. There's always good and bad to every person, right? You can't some people just crap all over somebody and then that's it. You don't want nothing to do with it. Or if you speak negative of one of their favorite players where they're hanging on to that person's nutsack, then all of a sudden now you hate the person. There's no in between. So I could say Julius Randle, is a tremendous rebounder and he's a tremendous 2010 guy, but he's not have a high IQ. And I'm going to get people to say, yo, you just hated on Julius, man. Why you hated on Julius? Or I could say Cam Reddish would probably prefer to play with LeBron in LA. And everybody's going to say, why are you trying to get rid of Cam? Because people can't think in terms of objectivity with some of these situations. So we're going to try to be objective here. So let's start with Tom Thibodeau. First, let's bring up the obvious negatives that we have seen with Tom Thibodeau. That's pretty easy. People remember negatives better than they remember positives. That's just how people are, people in general, right? So you might have 10 good experiences with a vendor or in a store or as a customer, but that one really bad one is the one you'll remember, right? That's how it is. And that's it is with Tom Thibodeau. So people know his negatives, and especially in New York, they know it very well, right? So let's look at some of his negatives. He tends to be very stubborn in terms of how he runs his rotations. He sticks to it even to a fault, even when it's obvious it's not working, right? We've seen it. He runs his top 6 players, particularly, let's go with top 5. He runs with his 5 way too many minutes. He'll run them till they get tired, and he'll actually cost games by overplaying his starting 5, especially if he has a bench that's rolling. He won't stick with them. He'll go back to it. We've seen this. He'll go back to his starting 5 regardless. And even if they're tired and they run out of gas and we lose the game, I would say very inflexible. Blair V, you said it very well. Very inflexible. That's a negative for Tom Thibodeau. Now, I would say conservatively, and I'm going to be conservative, I'm not going to try to exaggerate, but I would say he cost us about 4 games last year. I think we can agree, based on poor substitutions, based on running his starting group too many minutes when they weren't effective. Can we agree with that, Knicks Nation? I'm being conservative now. It could be more, but I'm trying to be conservative about it and not go overboard. But I think he cost us, I think we could say at least 4 games where he should have either played the mob deep more and his starters less, or he just overran his starters until they were tired. It was obvious they were gassed and he wasn't giving them any rest. And so, but let's just take the 4. So if you say if we lost 4 games because of that, you go from 37 wins to what? 41-40, right? You go from 37 to 41-40. We may not have even made the play-in with that, but it would have been a better record, right? Isn't that correct? We would have been a better record, right? So that's a conservative number. He also tends to rely overly on veterans. And he did that last year. And Kemba Walker is to me, the poster child of that last year. What do I mean? Kemba Walker came to the Knicks. It was a big hoopla. And he started at point guard. There was no competition between him and IQ and whoever else was vying for the point guard minutes. He handed that to Kemba Walker. Now, he changed pretty quickly on Walker, but he handed it to him. Walker did not have to earn the starting spot at the point guard last year. Okay. And that's what I mean. It's a weakness of Thibodeau. He just handed it to Walker based on Walker's veteran, stature. Okay. I think we could say that. And so salute to the chat again. All of you who just came in. Salute to all of you. Good afternoon. Keith Turner, Glenn Costin, Omari Belgrave. If I miss anybody, please forgive me. But okay. So now we're talking about the negatives of Thibs. So he tends to overplay his veterans, overplay his starting 5. He is inflexible when it comes to his rotations. Inflexible. Okay. 2189, thanks for the $5 super chat. Inflexibility tires the majority of the roster out, underuses pieces, and the scheme becomes stale and predictable, impatient with non-veterans. Exactly. That's another one. He is very impatient, which is at odds with what we're seeing in terms of the overall direction that the front office is taking the team. The front office is looking a longer term. They're being patient with the young people, and they want development from them. Thibodeau has no patience. He don't care about young people. He's looking to win now, and he believes what veterans help him do that, even if it's to the detriment of development of younger players. So these are the negatives, okay? Before we go into the positives, I want to talk about, with Thibodeau, some obvious things that people may overlook. What's important to him? I mean, let's seriously look at this. Trust. Even his boy Berman talks about that. It's important that he can trust a player. Now, whatever he decides that means, if you win his trust, he's going to play you. If you lose his trust, he's not going to play you. I think, can we agree with that? I mean, that's a thing I've noticed with him. Berman mentioned that Obi Toppin has won his trust. So you can expect Obi Toppin to get more minutes because he has won the trust of Tom Thibodeau. Okay. So it's important to him that a player wins his trust. Now, with that, let's also go to a subset of that observation. He doesn't trust rookies. Okay. He doesn't trust rookies. All right. So you have to win his trust. And when you come in as a rookie, automatically, he does not trust you. You have to win his trust, and he does not trust you automatically, okay, as a rookie. The second thing is, even if he has trust in you, you have to be available. Availability is very big with Tom Thibodeau. If you're not available, he will ignore you. Even if you come back from your injury, if you're not available, he will ignore you. All right? Have you guys observed that? So he needs to trust you. And when he calls on you, you better be available. Because if you're not available, you're going to lose his trust. Okay? So availability is important. And this comes into play with a guy like Cam Reddish. Okay? This comes into play in a guy like Cam Reddish. You have to be available. Also, when he calls upon you, whether it's the last 30 seconds of the fourth quarter or he's putting you in with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter, you need to perform. Period. Thank you, Gary Joseph, for the $20 super chat, brother, on #1 content creator. I appreciate that love, my man. And $21.89, another super chat, $2, not trusting rookies in German fuse nepotism. You're right. Okay, but we're trying to be what it is. We're showing, let's just talk about what it is, right? So trust is big with him. If you're not available, you lose his trust. And if you're a rookie, you start out without any trust. Even if and I'm going to give you an example of this. He got Jimmy Butler, and he got later, when he was with Minnesota, Chris Dunn. Okay? Jimmy Butler started off playing 8.5 minutes a game his rookie year. By his third year, Thibs trusted him, and now he was playing 35 plus minutes a game. Okay? Chris Dunn is a guy out of Providence that Thibs wanted, a defense first point guard. But he kept getting hurt, and he lost Thibs' trust, even though Thibs wanted him. Okay, so you got to win his trust. And to win his trust, one of the things you got to do is you got to be available. And when he calls on you, you have to perform. You have to. If you don't perform, if you mess up, you start, again, Deuce McBride. He was called on against Houston last year in Houston. He balled out. Okay? Then he got COVID. And when he came back from COVID, he was placed in the game and he committed a turnover in the first 2 minutes of the game. He was pulled. And you ain't see him again for like 3 games. It doesn't seem fair, but we're talking about what it is. Okay, we're talking about what it is. Okay, we're going to talk about the roster in a second too. But let's go this one step at a time, okay? So trust is big. You have to be available. And when he calls on you, you better perform. If you perform, he'll trust you more and you'll get more minutes. That's why you hear him say, look, you've heard him say this. If you play well, you'll play more. That's what he means. He says this, if you play well, you'll play more. What he means is if he calls on you and you turn it out, he's going to call on you again. It's a lot of pressure on the player, which brings me to the next point. There's no question, you must be in top shape when you show up to play. He must see you working your tail off. He must know you're working your tail off. He must know you're in the top shape that you can be in to start a season and to play, and that you keep yourself in that shape during the course of the season, whether you're playing or not. If he sees you sloughing off, he's not going to trust you. Therefore, you're not going to play. Okay? Which is why what we have seen since he has been the coach, Obi Toppin's, Emmanuel Quickley's, Deuce McBride's, Quentin Grimes, they've all worked their tail off all year round. You hear them talking about it. They call them what? Thibs called them the early group. Why did he call them the early group? See, because before the regular practice, they're there already for a couple of hours working out before the regular practice begins. He likes that. See, you'll win his trust if you do that. Okay? So these are important things. Now, let's go to his strength. The obvious strength is defense. Okay? That's Thibs' obvious strength. He's a defensive master. He really is. And to me, his best suited position is as a defensive coordinator for a team, not the head coach, but a defensive coordinator. If Boston Celtics had him in that position in 2008 when they won it all, and they played stellar defense. If you give him the defense and says, Thibs, I need you to handle the defensive side of the basketball, you're going to have a top 5 defense in the NBA because he's really good at defense. He is the opposite of Mike D'Antoni. He's on the other side. Mike D'Antoni is an offensive genius. Thibs is a defensive genius. Adele Chapman, thank you for the $2 super chat. What will we make Thibs say hell no to Randle? What will make Thibs say hell no to Randle? Well, that's a good question. Let me write that down. We'll see. We'll talk about that. Good question, Adele. So, all right. So now, all right. So what we got? So he is a defensive genius. He is an offensive idiot. And I'm trying to be nice about it. I think we can agree, right? He's a defensive genius combined with an offensive idiot. On the other side of D'Antoni. D'Antoni is an offensive genius and a defensive idiot. Am I correct? And what do I mean by that? This is D'Antoni. D'Antoni doesn't have defensive schemes. He puts good defensive players out there, right? He'll try to get a defensive player and hope that this guy will help his defense, but he won't make any schemes. Offensively, he's got a million schemes, okay? What does Thibs do? He has all kinds of defensive schemes, and he hopes that a good shooter or penetrator will help him with his offense. He has no offensive schemes. Okay? And the one time, I'm going to tell you, there was a year, it was the year after Derrick Rose blew out his knee. When Derrick Rose blew out his knee was that spring in the playoff, he blew out his knee. The next year, Chicago won like 55 games without Derrick Rose, because what he was doing is he had a lot of off-ball movement. He was running triangle with a lot of off-ball movement. I don't know why he didn't continue to do that, but that year, the Bulls were really good even without Derrick Rose. I can't even tell you what year it was, but I know it was the year after, because I was expecting them to drop to the bottom when Derrick Rose left, but they didn't. They were still at the top of the East without Derrick Rose, because Thibs instituted some serious off-ball movement in his offense. I don't know why he goes away from that. I don't know what happened or what the deal is or whatever, but that's the only time I've seen him do it. Okay? So he will mostly say, we're going to have a top defensive schemes, and hopefully one of y'all can shoot or penetrate to help our offense out. So he don't have no offensive schemes. And D'Antoni will have all kinds of offensive schemes, 7 seconds or less, score 120, 125 points a game, and then put, somebody out there, put Capella out there. Maybe he could, he could defend the rim and help us. But he ain't really having no schemes. Okay? I wouldn't say it's his last coach, maybe his last head coaching job. Is that what you mean, Webb? Because somebody's going to hire him as a defensive coordinator. I would. You would hire him as a defensive coordinator. You wouldn't, then you're going to get a championship defense. You wouldn't hire him head coach or offense for sure, right? But so I wouldn't say it's his last gig. It is probably his last head coaching gig, but maybe not even that. But definitely, he better. Well, see, okay, so Mr. Williams 1072. That is why Thibs loves downhill point guards. Lack of scheme, right? That's exactly right. He says lack of scheme. He just lets them ball offensively. So if you can get the downhill point guard and you can get some shooters out there, he doesn't really need any schemes, right? So because he's just gonna let them float. But this is the league, you got to. They will adjust to that. The really top teams will adjust to that and make you do something you don't want to do, right? So that's a problem. All right. So somebody asked the question. What will make him turn on Randle? All right. Let's talk about what he likes as a player. He has to trust you, right? So for him to turn on Randle, he has to distrust Randle. I think last year, I believe that last year, Randle was pushing it with Thibs because he was, acting the fool, messing up a game. Okay, so if Thibs loses trust in him, that's a problem. You're never going to see Julius Randle out of shape. That would be a big thing for Thibs to lose trust in him. He busts his tail to get in shape. That's big time with Thibs. Okay, that's big time. But then again, so does Obi Toppin. Okay, so that's one. And then, of course, performance. Last year, there were several games. Can I say, I haven't counted them, but I think you all agree there are several games where Randle had at least 4 turnovers. Can I say that conservatively? I think, right? Can I say that? There were several games where he had at least 4 turnovers in the game, maybe 5, right? There were several games where he would spin, turn the ball over, dribble, turn the ball over at really bad times. Not only that, he would turn the ball over and not sprint back on defense after he turned it over. Is that correct? That will cause a problem with Thibodeau. That will cause a problem because now you're costing him games. Okay? So to answer the question that Adele posted, those are things that will cause a problem. Okay, he's not going to be out of shape, so that would cause a problem, but that's not going to be an issue. But if you start running at the refs too much, turning the ball over and not sprinting back, showing a lack of hustle, really not being in the game mentally, you're going to lose him. Yeah, I know, and that's exactly what we don't want to do. Wilton Maynard said, have you seen the new the dribble thing? That's exactly what we don't want him to do. I didn't like the video. I don't know what he thinks he's a point guard. That's been the problem. 3 years with Knicks, he thinks he's a point guard. That's been the problem. Okay. So that wasn't good to me. That wasn't good. I'd have been better watching him run sprints and being like run 5 pro sprints and then be not out of breath. That would have been something more impressive to me. But the dribbling, all that means is he's going to get too confident and dribble into double team. The problem is the IQ with Randle. It's the IQ, man. Mr. Williams, thanks for the $5 Tim demands in shape or you won't play. Exactly. So you got to come in shape. Now, I don't think there's any person on the roster right now that's going to come in out of shape. I don't think, right? There's really 13 main players. And this is what I want y'all to also understand. You know what? Because there's not a lot of news, people put breaking news. The Knicks just signed Ryan Arcidiacono. I mean, come on, man. What? Come on, Ryan, what? Sweet, whatever. None of these guys are going to play. Most of them not even going to make the team. They're signed to training camp invites. What you got is 13 guys with kills and hunt. That's what you're going to have. Okay? And these guys that they're signing are just to push the guys that are already on the team. Forget all of this. Oh, breaking news. They just signed so-and-so. My brothers and sisters, come on. Don't get caught up in it. These guys, this doesn't mean anything. Unless somebody gets hurt. Okay? Let's deal with the real. All right? That ain't real. Whoever they sign now to fill out the 20 guys they want to bring into the camp, those guys are just practice players. No, those guys are just practice players. Look, gentlemen, sisters, this is the league. If somebody's really good, they'd have been signed already. You think the NBA is going to just let talent linger and come into the training camp invite? Come on, baby. This is the league, man. Everybody wants to win. They playing for money. Hey, listen, y'all remember back in the day, I don't know if they still do it. This was before the guns. This is when people just use fists. When brothers played for money, it got very, very serious. $5 a man, right? Y'all ever do that? That's when it got really serious. Okay, there wasn't no joking around. And that's on the street. You talking about NBA teams and players playing for money. They playing for contract. Okay? It's deadly serious. And when there's talent available, people get it. These last 5 dudes to fill out training camp rosters, come on. Y'all taking this too seriously, man. These are practice players. just in case somebody, balls out and does the miraculous thing, and somebody gets hurt, blows out a knee or something. You got somebody there. But they ain't playing. Come on, man. They ain't playing. Forget that. Okay? Now, the IQ thing with Ian Begley, before we continue, I want to talk about that. Expanded role. What does that mean? Expanded role. First of all, we just did a video on IQ. I think it was Friday. Emmanuel Quickley is not a point guard. He is a shooting guard. That's what he is. And there's no problem with him being a shooting guard. Anybody thinking he's going to start is using too many opioids, smoking too much weed, and needs to lay off that pipe. He's not starting. Okay? You want to be real, okay? And I like Quick. I spoke very highly of him in the Friday video, if you saw it. But anybody really seriously thinking that he's going to come into this season and start, anyway, what does the expanded role mean? Okay, let's talk about that. It could mean that he's playing behind the starting two guard, who I expect to be Quentin Grimes. And if he's playing behind Quentin Grimes, I don't know where that leaves Evan Fournier, who I already expected to not be a Knick by now. So I don't know. When they say expanded role, I'm not sure what that means, because he's really a two. Now, you got Derrick Rose. Now, maybe they're planning on playing him with Derrick Rose. I can see this. Now, you're going to, because wait. Derrick Rose. Thibs trust Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is hopefully going to be available. We know Derrick Rose is a vet, and we know he's in shape. What does all that spell? Point guard off the bench, first guy behind Jalen Brunson. Speaking of Jalen Brunson, because of his history with Jalen Brunson, that is Thibs' personal history with Jalen Brunson, he trusts Jalen Brunson. Everybody knows Jalen Brunson, I think we can all agree, he works really hard on his game. Really hard. Everybody can see, it's obvious facts that he has improved his statistics each year. To this past season, he averaged 16 points per game and 4 or 5 assists a game. He's going to start because Leon Rose treats him like his grandson, and Rick Brunson, who's hired on the staff, and he ain't hired there to watch his son not start. Jalen Brunson's getting the basketball, and it's his. It's his team. Okay? So the question is not who starts, it's who's coming in behind him. And I'm telling you, it's Derrick Rose. Now, Thibs would surprise me. Surprise number one would be if Emmanuel Quickley came in before Derrick Rose. That would be a surprise. That would be a surprise. If Emmanuel Quickley came in behind Jalen Brunson before Derrick Rose does, then you could say, I think we could say safely, Thibs has changed. Because Derrick Rose, I mean, that's one of his homies. So, and Derrick Rose, from all accounts, is in shape now. Feet are healed. He's got no physical limitations right now. He's mature. He's healthy. He's going to be 33, but you still would expect Rose to come in behind Brunson, which means if IQ is going to get an expanded role, you must be talking about a Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickley, backcourt, backcourt. You must be talking about that, which means I don't know what happens with Evan Fournier. Right. $21.89, my man, $5. The difficult task of developing a young core and increasing the vet value. Not long a leash for Thibs. The irony given he has shortened non-vet leashes. That's right. So this is the interesting question that's going to be answered. Now, with training camp starting next week, training camp is next week. Ian Begley, along with the report that said, which you all are aware, that said IQ is getting an expanded role or expects to. He also said something to the effect, and many of y'all would say, tell me exactly the quote, but I'm going to paraphrase. Cam Reddish looks great, right? Cam Reddish looks to be in tremendous shape. Cam Reddish looks to be ready for this season. And I believe, given his talent level, if you give him a fair shot to win minutes, there's nobody on the team more talented than him, to me, if he's healthy. See, this is the thing. Trust is big with Thibs. And along with trust goes what? Availability. Cam has not been available in his first 4 seasons in the league. First 3 seasons, hasn't been available enough. If he comes into this camp and he's in shape and he balls out, it's going to be hard to not play him. It's going to be hard to not play him. So to me, if you combine these two things, what we just said, Emmanuel Quickley coming off the bench behind whoever's the starting 2 guard first, then that means Cam comes off the bench behind RJ at the 3. And as much as all of us would love to see RJ play the 2, let's be real. He played the 3 all 3 seasons. All 3 of his years with the Knicks in the Knicks uniform, he played the 3. Don't think he's going to change now. As much as we'd all like to say, well, he really should be a 2 guard. And I agree with you. But let's not be delusional, right? Let's not be delusional about it. Let's be real. He played the 3. He's going to continue to play the 3, which means Cam would get minutes behind him at the 3, which also gives us another problem. Obadiah Toppin. Now, Thibs has a track record of playing guys like Randle 35 minutes a game. Randle, during Thibs's tenure, is, I would say conservatively again, top 5 in the league in minutes. Would you guys agree with that? I mean, he's top 5 in the league in minutes played. 30, 35 minutes a game. How is he going to play Obadiah? Where is he going to play Obadiah? Is Obadiah's a 4. Some people think because Randle has lost all of this weight, he might have Randle playing the 3. Hey, anything's possible. Then you're going to get more minutes for Obadiah. But then where does that leave Cam? You see the dilemma we have? You can't say I'm going to play Randle at the 3, put RJ at the 2, and then have Grimes play behind RJ. Wait a minute, where's IQ? Where's Cam? You see this dilemma. Y'all see this, right? So let's go by the real. Randle starts at the 4. RJ starts at the 3. That's going to happen. Mitch Robinson starts at the 5. Jalen Brunson is getting the ball at the point guard. The only question mark at this point, which I don't think is a question mark, is who starts at the 2. Some of y'all think it's still going to be Evan Fournier. I don't think so. I think Grimes is going to start at the 2. He's going to come in shape. He's going to work his butt off in the camp. We already know he plays defense. And we already see his potential as a 3-point shooter. He starts at the 2. Okay? He starts at the 2. Now, if that's your starting 5, Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. Generally speaking, I just reviewed it again today. I looked at Thibs' record as head coach for Chicago and then Minnesota. Generally speaking, it sounds weird, but he does play 9 guys. And when I say play, I'm talking about, I count guys that play 20 minutes or more. He generally plays 9 guys. It's surprisingly enough. What he does is he overplays the starting 5, but he generally does play 9 players. Okay? He does. As weird as that is, right? So Let's go over those starting five. Realistic. And again, I'm not telling you what I want. I'm trying to be real with y'all so that none of us see. You get disappointed if you set yourself up for disappointment. Say, well, Cam needs to start at the 3, and then you see him never play. You're gonna be upset. Don't give yourself that, that bellyache. Don't give yourself that heartburn. Why? Life is too short, right? Don't set yourself up for disappointment. So it's going to be Jalen Brunson. Now, Quentin Grimes, somebody can argue with me and say Evan Fournier. I can hear you, but I think it's going to be Grimes, depending on the camp. That's a camp battle. RJ, Randle, and Mitch Rob. Now, second unit, it depends on who you think is going to get the playing time. Is it D Rose at the point guard behind Jalen Brunson, or is it Emmanuel Quickley? It's not going to be Deuce. Okay, and Deuce is one of my 2 favorite Knicks, but it's not going to be Deuce. It's either going to be Emmanuel Quickley or Derrick Rose, and that is going to tell you and I a lot. Because I'm telling you right now, if the Knicks if Thibodeau has IQ coming off the bench behind Jalen Brunson, now I'm going to tell you right now, Derrick Rose is going to have a reduced role, like 15 minutes a game role. Okay. That's okay. So let's see. At the 2 guard spot, it's either going to be Fournier or IQ. There you go again. See? So if Grimes is your starting 2, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Emmanuel Quickley or Evan Fournier behind Quentin Grimes? And if Emmanuel Quickley's getting an expanded role, I think it would be Emmanuel Quickley. But see, Evan Fournier is not going to go for that. Fournier's French. What do French players have in common? They will speak their mind. They will. All of them do. They will tell you. Okay? And Evan Fournier, he wouldn't be happy with that. So that's why, again, I'm surprised he's still on the squad right now. Because, again, let's look at it the opposite way. If you're starting Quentin Grimes and you have Evan Fournier playing behind him, and Emmanuel Quickley is talking extension next year, you think Quick is going to be happy with that? I don't think so. So you got a dilemma. Okay, small forward, RJ. But behind RJ at the small forward spot, see, this is where I see Cam Reddish. I can see Cam Reddish getting minutes behind RJ at the 3. And I also see if he is healthy. This is the key with Reddish. It is not about physical talent, ability, performance on the court. If Cam Reddish stays healthy, he's going to win more minutes. I just feel it because he's that good. I just feel like he's that good. Okay? I just feel like he's that good. All right? So if Cam Reddish can stay healthy, that's the biggest question with him. Ian already confirmed to us he's in shape. He's coming into camp in shape next week. So what we really need to know is, can he stay healthy? Because I'm telling you, if Thibs was to say, I'm going to give you 10 minutes a game, that boy will ball out with his 10 minutes and then get more minutes. You're going to do it. Because to me, he's that good. So I'm thinking Cam is my second unit Mob Deep 3. Okay? Second unit Mob Deep 3, unless he's hurt. And then behind Cam, if Cam is hurt or whatever, it could be Obi or Randle. It could be one of them. I mean, you're talking about a second unit 3, right? It's possible. It's possible. I can't tell you I like the idea, but I'm telling you, and I think we have to admit, it's possible. Correct? It's possible. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's definite. I'm not predicting it's going to happen. I'm telling you, though, you have to consider that it's possible. So if Cam Reddish is not behind RJ at the 3, you could see Obi Toppin or Julius Randle back up RJ at the 3. You could do that. It's possible. At the 4 spot is pretty obvious. It's Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, Isaiah Hartenstein. Okay, it's Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, Isaiah Hartenstein. Period. That's your 4. That's your 4. Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, Isaiah Hartenstein. That's an easy call. At the 5, another easy call. Mitchell Robinson is Isaiah Hartenstein, Jericho Sims. That's easy. Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, Jericho Sims. Very, very easy. Okay, at the 5. The real questions for everyone is the backup point guard, the backup minutes at point guard, the starter at the 2. See, already Keith is talking about you can dream about Grimes starting. See, that's what I'm saying. You could argue with Fournier. You could. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but if Ian Begley is Ian Begley, he said the Knicks have a problem with a Fournier, Brunson. And I played the clip for y'all last week. Y'all remember that? The Knicks front office has a problem with the starting backcourt of Evan Fournier and Jalen Brunson. They're concerned defensively with that backcourt. Did y'all? Some of y'all remember last week we played the clip? You remember that? I didn't say that. Ian Begley said that. Okay? I'm just telling you what we played it. So I would be pretty surprised if Fournier was the starting 2 guard because it is a weak defensive backcourt. It's a weak backcourt defensively with Jalen Brunson and Evan Fournier. You're going to have a problem defensively. And if you combine that, hello, my New York dad, just wanted to say hello, Ross. Thank you. Appreciate that. But if you combine that fact, that's a factoid. I'm not making that up. Ian Begley said it. That's why I'm saying it's a factoid. Ian Begley said that the front office has a problem with a Fournier Brunson backcourt defensively. You combine that, do y'all remember the Kemba Walker Fournier defensive lineup last year? You remember that? Do y'all remember how effective defensively the Fournier Kemba Walker backcourt was last year? You remember that? Do you think Thibs is going to want to do that again? Do you think Thibs is going to do that again? And it did not take Thibs, 10 games, 15 games? And we called this. I did a video and I said, Kemba Walker's going to be out of the rotation. And wasn't he? It didn't take like 5 days later. He was pulled out. Why? Because Thibs demands defense. And the weakness was in the backcourt with those 2 defensively. Okay? Y'all remember that? So that's why some of y'all thinking it's going to be Fournier and Brunson. Let me tell you something. He ain't pulling Brunson. Oh, come on. Stop with the Svi, whatever Svi his name is. He ain't going to play. Come on. Dang, y'all, come on. Stop. What he get? Wait, let me look this Svi. I know Svi. He was playing. I think he was playing with Detroit. And he was playing with what was it? What else? He was playing with the Detroit Ukrainian dude. He played with Detroit. He played with LA. Who else he played for? The Raptors. Man, let's start with this scrub. Come on, man. Shit. Excuse me. Dang. He ain't playing. He training camp invite. Come on. 2089 went from top D to mediocre. G, wonder why. Exactly. Svi, whatever was the cat name. Svi alcoholic, whatever his name is. Mahawalik, whatever. Come on, man. Stop getting trippy on these daggone training camp invites. Let's talk about some real basketball. Okay, come on. Come on, Knicks Nation. Yeah. Anyway, what was I saying? Y'all remember the defensive issues we had with Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier last year. Even in games where, you had to have a 40-point effort from Fournier for us to win, or a 40-point effort from Kemba Walker to cover up for the defensive liabilities they created. And I want to tell you right now, Thibs ain't having that this year. He ain't having it. Okay, y'all listen. Let me, it's time for a poll. Do you think Thibs wants Fournier. No, wait. Hold on. I'm gonna put it this way. Which backcourt would Thibs favor? Here you go. Which backcourt would Thibs favor? Here you go. I'm gonna put it out right here. Brunson, Fournier, or Brunson. Come talk to me, Knicks Nation. Brunson, Grimes. That's what I'm gonna put out there. Brunson. I want y'all opinion. Brunson, if I can spell Brunson / Grimes. That guy. Come on. Here you go. All right. And then I'm gonna add an option. Other. Because there is a possibility of that. Okay, here you go. Here's the poll, y'all. So which backcourt would Thibs favor? Brunson Fournier or Brunson Grimes or other? Which means what? Could be Brunson RJ. It's going to be Brunson. Come on. Come on, right? I mean, let's not be delusional now. Brunson is going to get the basketball. It's his ball. Okay? Thanks, Kid Ribby. I appreciate that, man. Right? So, you know, who's he going to favor? And when you look at the whole totality, Thibs' philosophy as a defensive coach, what happened last year with Kemba and Fournier? Ian Begley reported that the Knicks front office is uncomfortable with a Fournier-Brunson backcourt. Put all that together and tell me he's going to start Fournier. Now, like I said, I'm not going to laugh at you if you said that. I'm not going to laugh at you because it's possible. I'm not saying, nobody knows until opening night, right? So it's possible. Okay, it's possible that you can start a Brunson Fournier. They could put it out there and try it and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, stop it. They could do that. I just don't see Thibs doing that. You know why I don't see him doing that? Number one, we talked about his pride on the defensive side. Number one, we also talked about his impatience, right? He pulled Kemba Walker last year. That was after, if y'all remember, in the press conference, they said, is Kemba going to play back-to-backs? And Thibs said, he's playing. Thibs wasn't playing. He wasn't joking. He started him. And then he pulled him. And he didn't even call him in his office and say, Kemba, I'm going to have to reduce your minutes. We're hurting defense. No, he just said, he's out the rotation. He's out. And they said, what? He said, out the rotation. I'm trying to tell y'all. Come on now. Trying to tell y'all. So we're going to see what happens. But I'm telling you, I believe Grimes is your starting two guard. For those reasons, Grimes is your starting two guard. Okay? So you're going to have JB, Grimes, RJ, Randle. Your second unit, that's going to be the key now. First of all, there are 13 players, in my view, that have a realistic chance to actually play. And so if y'all think Trevor Keels is going to play this year, I told you that when they drafted him. Y'all tripping. I told you he's not going to play. Farron Hunt might, and I mean slight chance, if somebody gets hurt. He might. But more than likely, no. And all these other cats that they sign in for the training camp invites, forget about it. It's like Snowball's chance in Hades. You know what I'm saying? Forget about it. Anybody they're signing this one, they're signing that one, they signing it. Don't be counting them for the rotation. You're going to be disappointed. I'm just telling you. Not going to happen. Okay? So the 13 guys that have a chance to play, let's start from the bottom. Jericho Sims, Deuce McBride, Isaiah Hartenstein, Obi Toppin, Cam Reddish, Emmanuel Quickley, Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose. Then your starters, JB, Grimes, RJ, Randle, Mitch Rob. Those are your 13 guys that have a chance to play any minutes at all. Nobody else really does. Okay? Now, let's talk about the other elephant in the room that we've been bringing up. I told y'all last week and the week before that between Randle, Fournier, and D Rose, two of those guys would be gone. That's what I told y'all. Why did I say that? We just discussed the logjam, did we not? There's a logjam at the backup point guard spot between IQ, D Rose, and then Deuce. There's a logjam at the starting two guard spot with Grimes, Fournier, possibly IQ, and Cam. There's a bit of a logjam at the small forward spot if you're going to count Grimes, in a point, which I don't, but if you did, and then you're going to possibly play Obi or Randle at the small forward, now you got that problem too with Evan Fournier also, all of that. So there's a bit of a log jam. Number one, with the log jam, my suggestion, Knicks Nation, don't start talking about who we bringing back. If you got a log jam, you're talking about, by virtue that, let's define the log jam, okay? Just for our argument here. You ready, Knicks Nation? Let's define the log jam. What is the log? First, let me see this poll here. What do we got? We got 51 votes so far, and 75% says it's Grimes and Brunson. 12% says Brunson, Fournier. 14% says other. Okay? That's pretty much what I expect to. But look, let's define logjam. What is a logjam? An NBA team has a logjam when more than one or two players are vying for minutes at a particular position. For example, the Knicks have Jalen Brunson, Emmanuel Quickley, Derrick Rose, and Deuce McBride. They have 4 point guards. There's not enough minutes for all 4 to play. Therefore, that's called a logjam. At the shooting guard spot, you have Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, and Evan Fournier. You have 3 players where there really is only enough minutes for 2 of them. That's called a logjam. How do you solve a logjam? You remove one of the players. So if there's 4 players vying for minutes at the point guard and you want 3 of them to get some minutes, that means somebody's got to be traded. If you have a shooting guard position where you have 3 players vying for 2 spots to play, somebody's got to be traded. That's how you loosen a logjam. I liken it to being constipated. Have you ever been constipated? If you're constipated, you eat something to relieve the constipation, to clear your bodily sanctuary. You don't eat stuff that's going to make you more constipated. So if you're constipated, you might want some magnesium. What you don't want is cheese. Does that make sense? So we're not talking about who we're getting back in a logjam situation. We're trying to unclog the system. We're trying to relieve ourselves of the logjam. And so you're trying to create time for players that you already have. Does that make sense? So we're not looking to see who we bring back. Unless we're like, for example, if you were to trade Randle and get back an expiring contract plus a pick, that would be something. But right now, that's not going to happen because we've already seen it reported. The Knicks cannot trade Julius Randle without attaching a pick. So therefore, he's not going to be moved right now. They cannot trade him unless they attach a pick. And for you guys, really hanging on his nutsack very hard, on them gonads very heavily. Put your pride down and let's face the truth. If somebody offered a number 1 pick for Julius Randle, he would no longer be a New York Knick right now. The reason he is a New York Knick right now is because everybody's asking for picks to take him. Okay? It ain't like people beating the door down saying, we're going to offer you picks for Randle. Please give us Randle. No. They're saying, what? What you going to give me for me to take this brother off your hands? That's the real. You may not like it, But that's the facts. Okay? It ain't like somebody beating the door down for Julius Randle. So that's why he's still a Knick. Fournier, though, is a really good playoff piece off the bench. It's a really good playoff piece off the bench. The problem with him is the playoff teams don't want the 2 years and $36 million left on his deal for the most part. Okay? The playoff teams don't want the 2 years, $36 million. So that's the only issue with Fournier. If he was expiring, I think he'd be gone already. Derrick Rose is probably a commodity because he's expiring, but I don't know if the Knicks have an appetite to move him because of his relationship with Thibodeau and, of course, his obvious talent, right? But Derrick Rose would be a tremendous piece on a playoff team off the bench. Okay, he really would. But he is going to be 33 in October, so I need to remember that. So that's an issue. So we got to deal with that. So Fournier, to me, is the most logical guy to be moved because by moving Fournier, you're actually handing IQ the backup two guard position. Okay, you're handing that to him. Okay, and that really unclogs a lot right there. And Grimes is your permanent starter at the two, unless you're going to move RJ there, and then you still don't have a logjam. You put Cam at the 3, RJ at the 2, Grimes comes in behind them, no problem. Okay. But camp starts next week. So really, guys, really have a week and a couple of games. Because your first 2 games, right? Your first 2 games are preseason. You got 4 preseason games. You got 3 of them at Madison Square Garden. And why is that important? Why is it important? It's not because of the home crowd. It's because of the proximity to the facility. In other words, you're playing in the Garden. You can look at your mistakes. You can study the film. You can get ready, and you're right there going to Tarrytown, or you still be in an MSG to study what you need to study to get ready. Okay, that's why it's important to have some home games. And they've got 3 of the 4. They play in Detroit, I think, for one of the games, either Detroit or Washington. And they kind of do that every year. They play Detroit or Washington the last few years in preseason. And that's because also it's close to New York in terms of a flight. You can get to Washington in an hour from New York, and you could probably get to Detroit in an hour, maybe an hour and a half from New York. It's not a long flight. So you can play them 2 games and get back, So the first 2 preseason games, if somebody's going to win minutes that we weren't expecting, like Cam, if Cam is going to win minutes, it's between the camp itself in practice and those 2 preseason games. A lot of pressure on Cam Reddish. I mean, right? A lot of pressure on him right now because he cannot be hurt and he's got to perform at a high level. Okay? This is a very important preseason and camp for Cam Reddish. Very, very important. See, RJ could go out in the preseason and go 0 for 14. He's still going to start on opening night. Right? So RJ can go out and go 0 for 14 in the first 2 preseason games, and he's still starting on opening night. Cam can't do that. Cam cannot do that. He has to ball out and stay healthy. Because if he does, they're going, we got something. I love this kid's talent. I've been liking it since Duke. And I'm believing in it until he shows me otherwise. If he gets hurt this year, then I'm done. I'm done. If he gets hurt this year, I don't want to hear it. If he twists his ankle or if he slips on a banana peel and he's out because of that, I don't want to hear no more from Cam Reddish. I'm looking for him to be healthy, to stay healthy, and to ball out. And because he's got the talent is there. And so I'm very confident that if he stays healthy, he's going to win minutes because he's just that good, right? So the pressure is on him. This is a contract year. He's got to ball out. It's really important for him. Very important for him. See, a guy like, say, Deuce McBride, this is his second year. He don't have to ball out this year. He just has to continue to improve. Even if he plays G League minutes, continues to improve, continues to get better, continues to be in shape. That's Deuce. Deuce got another year, really. He does. See, I'm not worried about him. And if he happens to come out and ball out and get more minutes, I'm happy. But realistically, Deuce is not in that position. Cam is in the 4th year. He hasn't been offered an extension. He's not been healthy. He has got the ball out this year. This is money time for Cam Reddish. It's money time. And I'm believing in my man right there. I'm going to believe in Cam Reddish. I believe in Cam Reddish. So he's got the ball out right now. Okay. He's got to come in shape and ball out. Okay. So it's a big year for him. It's a big year for Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin for different reasons. They're going to get their minutes in Mob Deep. They're going to get their Mob Deep minutes. Okay, they're going to do it. And if they trade Randle by the deadline, Obi's going to really be a starter, right? But they're going to get their Mob Deep minutes no matter. Even with the present roster, IQ and Obi are going to get their Mob Deep minutes. They're going to do that. So, but it's a big year for them to ball out like they've been doing on Mob Deep because they both are dealing with extension years next year. Okay, and it's big for both of them because let's say IQ believes he's a starter. Okay, let's say IQ believes he's a starter, which he probably does. He comes into next year and he's thinking, okay, I may take the qualifying offer and become an unrestricted free agent because I'm going to get paid. Somebody's going to give me the bag to start for their team. Somebody brought up a very good comparison. It's a lot like what happened with Terry Rozier. They had Kyrie Irving come to Boston. Y'all remember Kyrie Irving came to Boston for it to be his team. Rozier was coming off the bench. Rozier wanted to start. But then, of course, Irving got hurt. And as the starter, Rozier balled out and they went and made a run in the playoffs, right? And then he left and went to Charlotte and took the money. He was going to either come to the Knicks or Charlotte. He actually thought he was coming to the Knicks. But he went to Charlotte and took the money. And Scary Terry became the starting guard for Charlotte Hornets. And he still is, right? So, because he believed he was a starter. Emmanuel Quickley is in the same thing right now. The Knicks believe he's a 6th man. He may believe he's a starter, and this is going to be a problem. This is why this is a big year for him. It's a big year for Obi for similar reasons, although I don't see Obi making as much noise if he's not a starter. I see his representation making the noise because it's going to cost him money. But I can see he's so happy to play for the Knicks that he will take the Mob Deep money that he might get, and stay because he loves New York. He's from New York. He loves the Knicks. He's big in the community. And so he might take the Mob Deep, second unit money, 50 million or whatever, and stay in New York, even though I think he's a starter of all-star caliber talent. He might take the money and stay in New York. I don't necessarily see Emmanuel Quickley doing that. I think Emmanuel Quickley is smarter and he knows his value and he ain't that tied to New York that he would stay here for less money. Most players aren't. Okay. I think if somebody offered him a bag to be a starter, he would take that. Let's say, Kyle Lowry is getting old. No. Kyle Lowry is old. Let's say Miami offered Emmanuel Quickley $20 million a year to come in as their starting point guard in 2 years. That's possible. You see what I'm saying? That's possible. Salute Pudge Nice. Salute my man Ruel. Shalom, my man Joe Curry. Okay, it's entirely possible that somebody like Miami will come in because Kyle Lowry's old, man. What, he 35? He old. So you can come in and you can replace a $30-something million a year Kyle Lowry with $20 million a year or $18 million a year, say 4 years, $72 million for Emmanuel Quickley and give him the basketball. Somebody like Miami might do that. Okay, let me tell you something else. Down in Houston, watch Houston. Apparently, they're not real sold on the attitude of the kid that they have now who left Cleveland. This kid got all kinds of talent. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm going to pull him up right now. He got all kinds of talent, man. What's his name, man? Not Green, not him. It's the other boy, Kevin Porter Jr. Kevin Porter Jr. is talented as talent can get. Ever since he's been in college, though, there's been attitude issues with him. If Houston is not sold on him, Jalen Green is not a point guard. If they want a point guard, there's somebody else that might throw money at an Emmanuel Quickley. Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. Okay, there's somebody else that might throw money at Emmanuel Quickley. See, Quick, don't think he's not watching these things. Okay, so this is a big year for him. This is a big year. Okay. Knicks GM, you weren't paying attention. I'm not comparing Rozier to Cam. I'm comparing Rozier to Emmanuel Quickley. Please pay attention. Catch up there, baby. Stop being, get on the hot dog and catch up. Okay. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about Rozier and Quickley. That's what we're doing. Okay. And so Rozier and Quickley situation are very similar. The Boston situation with Rozier and the Knicks situation with Quickley. And so somebody could step up. And I think Rozier ended up leaving for like $60 million. I think it was initially, they just re-signed him to 90, but I think he initially left for $60 million to go to Charlotte. With the more money that's going to be out there, I'm telling you, you look at Houston, you look at Miami, you can look at a Dallas. There's several teams that will take Emmanuel Quickley and make him a starter. Okay, that's the real. Okay, I'm just telling you, it's a big year for him. Okay, it's a big year for Obi. It's a big year for Cam. It's a big year for Deuce. I mean, not Deuce. IQ. It's a big year for IQ, a big year for Obi, a big year for Cam. Very big for Cam. Very big for Cam. This is the money year right here. Cam Reddish could go from being, $6 million a year to $20 million a year, depending on how he performs this year. Between 15 and 20. Okay. So this is a big year for him. Yes, it's a big year for Grimes, but it's not as critical for Grimes. It's only his second season. He's actually ahead of schedule on a Thibs team, Grimes, right? You would expect a second-year guy under Thibs to start. So he's actually ahead of schedule on a Thibs team. He's on the Jimmy Butler train. He's even better than that right now because he's getting more than Jimmy did. He's on that train. Okay. Wrong about what, Felicia Lee? See, y'all jump into the conversation all late and don't even know what we're talking about. Y'all don't even know what we're talking about. First dude talking about comparing Cam Reddish to Rozier, which I wasn't. And now somebody talking about I'm wrong about IQ. What am I wrong about? Y'all, did y'all hear the conversation? Y'all just comment and not know what's going on. Y'all want to know what's happening here? I'm comparing Emmanuel Quickley as a critical season for him to Terry Rozier in Boston in the critical season he had before he left to become a starter in Charlotte. And I'm telling you, Emmanuel Quickley believes he's a starter. Oh, I see. I hope you're wrong. Okay. Come on, y'all. But my apologies then, Felicia. I don't have no problem apologizing, sister. If I was wrong, I apologize. But let me tell you. No, man. Let me tell you, Emmanuel Quickley thinks he's a starter. Do y'all wait? Here's a new poll. Y'all ready? Let's look at this low old one right here. 106 votes, 72% of y'all think Thibs wants Brunson and Grimes. I agree with you. So let's end that poll. Here's a new poll. Here's a new one. Do you think? Now, whenever somebody asking you, do you think? This is your opportunity to give your opinion, right? Most times nobody gives a crap about nobody's opinion. But here you go. Do you think IQ believes that he is an NBA starter? There you go. Very simple question. There you go. There you go. Does IQ believe that he is an NBA starter? Do y'all think he believes that? I have no doubt in my mind he believes he's an NBA starter. That he believes not only he's an NBA starter, but he's an NBA starter at the point guard. I believe that's what he's thinking. I'm a starter, a point guard starter in the NBA. You know what else? I think other teams believe that. Okay. So why for y'all, some of y'all just coming in late, let's go over this. I said this is a big year for Emmanuel Quickley. Why is there a big year? Because he's extension eligible next year. He believes he should start. If he doesn't believe he's going to get starters minutes with the Knicks, I believe that there are other NBA teams that will offer him that opportunity. Okay. All right. That's maybe my next poll question. Okay. What do y'all think? Okay. So 93% of y'all say IQ believes he's an NBA starter. I think that's pretty obvious, right? Okay. Here's an even bigger question. Are you ready? Here's a bigger question. Will another NBA team offer IQ a starter role? There you go. Here's another one. Will another NBA team offer him opportunity to start? Is there another NBA team out there that will say, Mr. Quickley, we think you're a starter. Here's your bag, and here's the basketball? Yes, it will happen. It will happen. Okay. Guilford brought it up too. Now, he's in competition with his boy Maxey. Come on, Maxey's a starter in Philly. He's in competition with Maxey. Okay, he believes he wants to start. And he wants to start at the point guard. Don Hines, I hear you, but I'm saying some team is going to offer him the starter at the point guard spot. Pat Riley has been known to bring on guys. They brought in D Wade as a point guard out of position. He's been known to do that. They had a kid that they drafted from Duke. He's always hurt now, but he played the point guard for a while. They will play guys at point guard that not necessarily point guards. Okay. So I think Miami, Houston, Dallas, especially Dallas with Luka, he'll fill in right there next to Luka. You got him. There's teams that will say to Emmanuel Quickley, okay, we'll give you the point guard spot. Okay. I don't know about Indiana because you got Tyrese Halliburton, and then they got the kid from Oregon, the guy from Oregon. He's Duarte. He's not. He's your starter in Indiana. IQ wouldn't have a shot there, but he'd have a chance to start in Miami, a playoff team. He'd have a chance to start in Dallas. He'd have a chance to start in Houston. I can see all of that happen. Okay, and in 2 years, who knows what else will shake loose? You never know. So. There's all of that. There's all of that. Minnesota can decide to trade D'Lo, and Emmanuel Quickley could go there. You just never know. No, Joe Bidas ain't taking IQ spot. Thibodeau's the coach, right? Thibodeau's the coach. How many foreign players has Thibodeau decided to start? How many really? Like, I don't count RJ as a foreign player, even though he's in Canada. I'm talking about like French, like Ukrainian, guys like that. How many of those does Thibs say, oh, yeah, I'm going to take this guy from overseas and bring him in? Dang, you thought he was a foreign player? I mean, I know he's African, but he came in and played at Duke and then came out of Duke and played in the NBA. So that's him. And he played also in those high schools where they travel all over the place because they don't really want to go to college. And he played there. Then he went to Duke, and then he ended up, playing the NBA. I don't count Dang. I'm talking about guys from Europe. You talking about Joe Bidas, right? Yeah. Now you talking about Joe Bidas. Come on, baby. I don't know about that one. Now you might get him if you put Mark Jackson as your head coach, or Johnny Bryant or Kenny Atkinson. Okay. Then you might have a Joe Bias sighting, but Tom Thibodeau, I don't know about that. But it's a big year. The bottom line I'm saying is it's a big year for Emmanuel Quickley. It's money year for him as well. There'll be other teams that will offer him a starting role. The Knicks, they're not going to this year because Jalen Brunson's your starting point guard, and then he's not going to be your starting 2 guard unless somebody gets hurt. But even then, I don't know. But see, that's what I'm saying. So that's it. You think he'll be happy with more minutes, Will? Let me ask you now. Will he make more money as a starter at the point guard than as a 6 man on the Knicks? If it's you now, it's you. Are you going to be a starter in Houston or 6 man for the Knicks? Are you going to be a starter in Dallas or 6 man for the Knicks? Are you going to be a starter in Miami or a 6 man for the Knicks? That's what it comes down to. To me, it's a no-brainer. I don't think we're going to be keeping him unless he starts to believe he's real comfortable being. Yeah, I mean, if he's real comfortable being a 6 man, and I don't think he is, I think he's going to leave. And that's why I'm not worried about Deuce. Not right now. I'm not worried about Deuce. Deuce may not play a lot this year. Deuce might see another year of G League, and that's fine. He's going to be there. He's a pure point guard, Deuce McBride. He's your pure point guard. So we'll see what happens. Oh, my Abraham said who my favorite coaches are. Oh man, I really respect a lot of coaches. I like defensive coaches. So I like Bickerstaff. I like McMillan. I love McMillan in Atlanta. I like, of course, Greg Popovich. He's the Don to me of coaches. Really, really genius coach. To me, I like coaches that coach and have them playing the right way. And no matter, we can have 5 high school players, and Popovich is going to have them playing Spurs style basketball. I like Bickerstaff in Cleveland. I like Popovich. I like Kenny Atkinson. Of course, Mark Jackson. And I'm not saying Mark Jackson because he used to play for the Knicks. I remember him as a coach in Golden State. He had them cats playing defense. I like Mark Jackson as a coach. He has both sides of the basketball covered. I tell you who I don't want. I don't want Jeff Van Gundy. And the reason I don't want Jeff Van Gundy is I clearly remember he really focuses on the 5 spot. He's really focused on the 5. Like he was dependent on Patrick Ewing, even well past his prime. When he went to Houston, he was dependent on Yao Ming. You cannot run a modern NBA offense like as if you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at the 5. And he didn't. See, so I don't want Jeff Van Gundy. I don't want his brother, Stan, either. No. I like Malone over in Denver. Of course, I like the guy that's coaching the Clippers, that Ty Lue. I like Ty Lue. I like Ty Lue. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys I like. There's a lot of good NBA talent as far as coaches out there. I like the guy that's coaching Boston, Inoki or something like that. I like him, the guy that's coaching Boston. His wife is not bad either. Here we go, Monica Nut. No. But that coach is good too. I like the coach in Boston. Yeah. Oh, and I like the guy, Udoka, right. I like him. Ime Udoka. I like him. And I like the guy in Milwaukee. I liked him on Atlanta too. He's a really good coach as well. The guy that coaches, he coached Atlanta, then he went up, and he was actually up for the Knicks job. The guy that's now coaching in Milwaukee, he was up for the Knicks job. He knows basketball. They play the right way with him as well. I like that. And so to me, I like all of those guys. I like also the guy in Miami. I think he got robbed Coach of the Year multiple times. Spoelstra. I like Spoelstra, but he ain't leaving Miami. I like Nick McMillan. I like Bickerstaff. I like Udoka. I like Greg Popovich. He ain't leaving San Antonio, right? All of those guys. Those are the guys that come off the top of my head. I like Jason Kidd too. I like him also. I can't really nail. I know he demands his players work hard, but I can't really nail down his coaching philosophy. But he does play to the strengths of his roster because he changes a little bit from when he coached the Knicks, when he coached Milwaukee, and when he coaches Dallas. He has different, he changes, and I like that. He goes with whatever the strengths of his team is, and he pushes that. And so there's no real straight like I'm going to do it this way and that's it with Jason Kidd. I like him also, but McMillan is one of my favorites. I always liked him. when he was at Portland, when he was at Indiana. I felt like Indiana shafted him. And when, of course, he went to Atlanta, I like Nate McMillan a lot. Yeah, so that's probably my favorite guy. There's McMillan, Atkinson, Mark Jackson, Bickerstaff, Ty Lue. Those are my favorite guys that I would say. I would probably want. I like them alone. I'm not sure about Deuce. I'm not sure about his contract. Let me see. Let me just check that out. That's a good question to do. I thought he signed a 3-year deal also, but let me see. Let's take a look at Deuce here and find out. Let's take a look at his contract. Let's take a look and see Deuce's contract. All right, let's take a look. I think let me see here. Deuce McBride. I'm gonna look at it right. I'm looking it up on Spotrac. Spotrac has a pretty good situation when it comes to finding a contract. Let's look up Mr. McBride here. Mr. McBride has a 3-year deal. So his 23-24 is a club option at $1.8 million. And if he doesn't sign an extension, his 4th year is $2.295 million in 2024. So this year he's at $1.56 million. And then next year, his 3rd year, he's at 1.8. I think next year is a big year for him. And that's why I'm saying we're going to see what happens. Oh, I like Willie Green too. Yeah, Knicks 100. I'm going to miss somebody because there's a lot. Right now, there's a lot of good NBA head coaching talent out there. I think, and I haven't seen this kind of talent available as NBA head coaches, shoot, man, since the 70s or 80s. There's a lot of really good NBA talent out there as far as head coaches. They really are. So Spoelstra is an institution in Miami. He's not going anywhere. He'll probably go to the front office if ever he left the sideline there. I like Spoelstra. And then I think Steve Kerr is a better executive than he is a head coach. He was an executive in Phoenix, and he's Danny Ainge style executive, just not as hard edge as Danny Ainge, but I think he's Danny. Yeah, Willie Green is a really good head coach. Udoka is a really good head coach. I like all those guys. Bickerstaff in Cleveland he's done a tremendous job. These guys, McMillan, again, I keep mentioning him. I like him. Greg Popovich. I love these guys that play basketball the right way. And then, of course, there's Kenny Atkinson. I like him. He, especially as a development coach. Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson's not only a development coach. See, Kenny Atkinson's a development coach. I'm not sure how he would be with a team that's already developed. Whereas Mark Jackson can develop a team, and I believe he can bring them to the next level. I like guys like that. So can Ty Lue. Okay, I like those guys. And the guy that's now the executive that they got from Indiana, and he was the head coach, and now he's the executive in Boston. He's a really good head coach also. He's really smart. I like a smart guy. He's smart. He gets the best out of his players as well. So I like him as well. The guy that used to be the Celtics coach, and he's now the president and GM. He's also very good. Yeah, Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens is really good. I like him. Really good head coach. Yes, they are. Orlando is log jammed at the 4. Agreed. What they're going to do, I don't know. One thing for sure, they seem to be they just re-signed Mo Bamba as the backup 5. So he's solidified. So really, they're going to play Paolo Banchero as they just drafted him number 1. So it's between now. Wendell Carter seems to have the edge over our guy Isaac right now because Isaac's been out. Wendell Carter seems to have the edge over him. So I can see Wendell Carter starting at the 5 with Paolo Banchero starting at the 4. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen with that. And I know what you're saying, Diamond Holds. You probably have an eye out for Jonathan Isaacs. Yes, but that's only if we trade Julius Randle, right? Because if you don't trade Julius Randle, you're going to have a bigger logjam at the 4. But if you trade Julius Randle and you have Obi Toppin with Jonathan Isaacs coming off the bench, I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. But you'd have to trade Julius Randle, and Orlando doesn't want Julius Randle, so it would have to be a 3-team situation. Orlando does not want Julius Randle. They're going to give the power forward spot for the next 10 years to Paolo Banchero, as they should, because Paolo Banchero, to me, along with Jabari Smith, is the deal. is the deal. But if you want to get a sleeper, I still got hopes for Tari Eason, man. I ain't gonna front. I'm tight on that brother's nutsack. I like Tari Eason. If I could get him, I'm getting him. I was really, to me, my disappointed in the Don trading that 11th pick is I was hoping they would trade down and get Tari. I wanted Tari. I can understand why they didn't do it because we got players in the logjam and we got to play them, But yeah, I'm all in on Tari Eason, man. Yeah, I like Tari Eason. So I still think he's going to be that dude. The thing is that you got Jabari Smith. And so you got Jabari Smith and Tari. So I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to, I ain't going to front. I liked Tari was the first dude that I did a video about when we were talking about rookies. Some of y'all would know last January, because I said, this kid, he's a sleeper, man. I liked him from the jump street. And he wasn't even a starter on LSU. But I said, unless there's some attitude problem, because I didn't know if there was an attitude issue with Tari Eason, I'm wondering why he wasn't starting on LSU. But, man, this boy can play. Got hands like daggone shovels and can play. He can ball on both sides. Tari's my man right there. I like Tari Eason. He's one of my dudes. So if we could get him, I'll be happy, man. If we could get him. But Houston got smart. They got him and Jabari Smith in the same draft. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I think your boy from Turkey may have an uphill battle because them two brothers could ball. What's that boy from Turkey they got? They got this kid from Turkey who's pretty good. But they got this kid from Turkey that's pretty good. But Sengun is pretty good. But he is. But I'm telling you, that's how good Jabari Smith and Tari Eason are. I don't see Sengun starting over them. I don't see it. If Houston is smart, those are the two brothers you start right there because them two brothers can ball, man. Diamond Holding says Hornets are the third team that will take Randle. I ain't gonna front. They need a guy like Randle because I think that unfortunately, I'm not saying his career is over, but his career in Charlotte is over. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I think Miles Bridges' career in Charlotte is over. They're going to have to move him and not get much for him. The Knicks, I don't know if the Knicks would take him because of the possibility of issues that come. And Don don't want no drama. Don ain't into no drama, no matter how good a guy is. So that might be an issue. But I can see Charlotte looking for a Julius Randle. That would make sense. You run him as the third option behind Scary Terry and LaMelo Ball with the ball in LaMelo's hand. You got something. You got something right there offensively. I don't know how it looks defensively, but I don't think I think Bridges will continue his NBA career. I just don't see it in Charlotte anymore. I think he's really blew the Charlotte situation, being accused. I don't know if he's guilty or not, but being accused of beating up his woman like that, that's going to be a problem for him, coming out. He's going to have to start and rehab his image, and that's possible. He could do it, but it's going to be an uphill battle, and I don't think it's going to be in Charlotte. Okay. Brian Gilliard, thanks for the $2 super chat. Shout out to Knicks Nation, even the dyslexic Knicks fans that love Randle. Would love to see starting five of Mitch, Obi, Cam, RJ Brunson. You and me both, my brother. You and me both. But I'm trying to not put my expectations too high so I'm not disappointed. I once had a professor in college in Baruch. He said, expect nothing and you'll never be disappointed. Now, it's impossible for us to expect nothing, but I'm not expecting Cam to start because if I did, I'd be disappointed. I'd love Cam to start at the 3, and I'd love Obi to start at the 4. Oh, my gosh. That would really get me excited. But yeah, D cool list 718. Yeah, forget it. Don't worry about it. Svi Mahuliak or whatever. There's too many hungry Knicks. He ain't getting no time, y'all. Don't worry about that. He's a training camp invite, basically. They're helping the brother out. Leon be helping out the players, man. Get you a little cash to come into the camp, see if you can get something with another team, cook on if you can. But there's too many hungry young lions on the Knicks. They won't eat that brother alive. I'm not worried about that. Isaac is coming off the summer before this one, right? 2 summers ago, he hurt his knee. I don't know. Dinwiddie, who knows? I don't know. But I'm telling you, in 2 years, IQ could take Dinwiddie's place. In 2 years. You're talking about 2 years from now. IQ could take Dinwiddie's place. No doubt. Even next year. IQ could take Dinwiddie's place next year. So this is a big year for Emmanuel Quickley. So we're going to see what happens. Yeah, it's a big year. But not this year. No, maybe next year, next summer. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. The Knicks have been known to do business with Dallas, so we'll see what happens. No, I don't see Hartenstein starting at all unless somebody's hurt. If somebody's hurt, Hartenstein could start. Somebody twists an ankle, something like that, he might start. But if you still got Randle and Obi on the team, there's no way Hartenstein is ever going to start. Unless Mitch Rob gets hurt. If Mitch Rob gets hurt, Hartenstein might start at the 5. He might get some starters minutes at the 5 because it's an 82-game season. So he'll get some starters minutes to, only if he's hot. He's got to be boiling hot for him to get closing minutes. He's got to be boiling hot. Or Mitchell Robinson's got to be in foul trouble. If Mitchell Robinson's in foul trouble, okay. But if Mitchell Robinson is not in foul trouble, y'all see, this is what I'm saying. Most people think of closing offensively only. To win basketball games in the league, you got to stop somebody in the fourth quarter. Y'all hear me? To win basketball games in the league, you have to be able to close out people in the fourth quarter. That means you need defensive stops. You need 3 stops in a row, 4 stops in a row, 5 stops in a row to close out a game. Just because you can hit a 3-pointer don't mean you can close out a game. Okay? So now, if Mitch Rob is healthy and he's not in foul trouble, he's closing. You need that guy guarding your rim. Okay, period. And Thibs loves a rim protector, and that's Mitch Rob. Rim protector, what you say that? Rim protector elite. Yeah. So we need Randle to play well enough to package up. Oh, yeah, for sure, Blair. I'm agreeing with that. For real. We definitely do. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Everybody, 2-way basketball is the crown jewel. You want a guy that could play 2 ways, but in the league, you want to be realistic. Not everybody could do that, right? That's why you have a Kawhi Leonard. He is a 2-way elite player, right? Elite defensively, elite offensively. That's why he's a superstar. Not everybody could do that, okay? That's not everybody. But most guys really are specialists in one way or another. And Mitch Rob he's a defensively elite guy. You win chips on the defensive end. That's how you do it. Mike Brown left a bad taste in my mouth in the stint that he had in Cleveland with LeBron and the stint that he had in LA before LeBron. And that's why I've never been high on Mike Brown as a result of those 2 stints. I know people like him and everything, but I've never been high on him, to be honest with you. I hope he does well, except when he plays Sacramento. We play the Knicks. I hope he does well in Sacramento. But I've never been high on him. When he had LeBron earlier in LeBron's career in Cleveland, and he was on LA, and he got fired from that job as well. I'm thinking they would give Johnny Bryant the initial interim head coach tag if Thibs was fired, while they decide whether they're going to look for another one or not. So what would happen is if Thibs got let go, let's say in January, Johnny Bryant would be your interim head coach. And then from that point, they'd have to decide whether they want to keep Johnny Bryant and sign him to an extension to make him the permanent head coach or interview other candidates. That's realistically what would happen. So you're going to, if Thibs got fired because he started playing the fool and he got fired, then Johnny Bryant would initially be your head coach because Johnny Bryant is the associate head coach. Okay, so they'd make him the interim head coach. And so he finished the season as the interim head coach. And he would get a chance as head coach to see if he could take this roster and make something out of it. If he does that, he'll get the head coaching job. If he doesn't, or if they're not comfortable with him, they will go and interview other head coaches. And that's what they'll realistically do. Okay, that's the real of it. But Johnny Bryant would initially be your initial interim head coach if they fired Tom Thibodeau. He would step right in and be the initial interim head coach. Okay. Yeah, he would have an audition. That's right, Brian. He would have the initial audition as the head coach, and he should. He's been here for now, what, his third season as with the Knicks now? He's been his third season. They got him from Utah, so he's a young cat, but he's paying his dues, so he should get an opportunity. And honestly, I feel good about Bryant as a head coach. I feel good about it. To give him that audition, I feel very good that he might be a second coming of a Kenny Atkinson, right? Suppose, you give Johnny Bryant that head coach and he's the second coming of Kenny Atkinson. He gets these young boys to ball, and talk about AC with them. I think we should give him that thing. There's a lot of really good head coaches out there right now. Like I said, Mark Jackson can't even get a job. And Mark Jackson, aside from the rainbow situation, to me, he's a basketball genius, right? And he can't even get a job. You got head coaches that can't get work right now. And I like Mark Jackson. I wish he would. Kenny Atkinson's another one. He's on the bench in Golden State. He could be a head coach, but he's not. He backed out of the Charlotte deal. Now we know why. 21 years outside of Bryant, Yoshimoto could be interviewed. That would be big time in New York because he'd be the first white. He'd be the first Asian head coach in NBA history, would he not? I think he'd be the first Asian-born or Asian head coach. Wouldn't Yoshimoto be the first Asian head coach in NBA history? I think he would. Right? And so that would be big time. That would be something but I think Bryant would get the first shot because he is, by title, he is associate head coach. And so he would get the title. Okay, he would get the first shot. Yeah, now I'm not a fan of getting college coaches, man. I'm just not, especially in New York. I don't think these guys, honestly, I don't think head coaches understand coming from college, New York. This ain't playing in Madison Square Garden with Villanova. It's a different scene, okay? This ain't yelling at your young 18 and 19-year-olds and them just jumping out, saying, how can I jump for you, coach? That ain't how it works in the league. So I'm not a big fan of bringing guys from college, especially in New York. I don't want nobody, that has never been a head coach or never been on the NBA sideline coming into New York. New York is a tough place to coach, man. It's probably one of the toughest places to coaches in the world as far as basketball. So I want somebody that's been in the wars already in New York. Mike Woodson. Oh, yeah. If I could get him, Kenny Payne, I'd take them because they've been on the NBA sideline. Okay. I'm saying. So I don't know. I wouldn't. Yeah, but Johnny Bryant's been an assistant head coach in Utah. He's been on the NBA sideline in Utah. This is not his first gig. Okay. He's been there. Okay. He's paid his dues in Utah. So he ain't no rookie as far as the NBA. And he's been dealing with development of players for a number of years. So no, we have to, I don't want no rookie head coach that's never been in the NBA before. I like Jay Wright. His program is tight, and he got a tight program. Like Calipari does at Kentucky. Jay Wright got a tight program in Villanova. Good for him. But I don't want him in Madison Square Garden as his first foray. Let him go coaching, Timbuktu somewhere. Let him go to Minnesota or something and break it, cut his teeth in the NBA first. No, I'd rather have Yoshimoto here, be honest with you. If I'm going to give somebody a shot, I'll give Yoshimoto a shot before I give Jay Wright a shot. I'm not a big fan of getting guys from college with big names and bringing them to Madison Square Garden. That's splash and flash, but that ain't wins, man. So let's see what happens. Sometimes it works. It worked with Brad Stevens, in Boston. They brought him straight from, wherever he was coaching out there in Indiana. I forgot the name of the team. And he came in and he, from day one, was doing a good job in Boston. But he's taking a big chance, or with the Billy Donovan from Florida, from Butler, right? And Billy Donovan come from Florida and went down there to Oklahoma City. But then again, he had MVPs on his team, right? Billy Donovan. He had MVPs on his team when he did that. Okay. But I'm not a big fan in general of taking the head coach. New York look, man. New York, between New York Knicks Nation, the media, and being in New York, they eat coaches alive in New York, man. I mean, come on, y'all know that. They eat coaches alive. When you survive in New York, you survive a cauldron, man. Really good coaches have not been able to survive in New York. Okay, they really good NBA coaches have not been able to survive in New York. So I don't know about that one, but I would love to see Johnny Bryant get a shot. I would see Yoshimoto get a shot. I think Johnny Bryant would be the guy to get the first opportunity, the first bite at the apple, no pun intended. He would be the first guy to get the bite at the apple. And I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. All right. But we've covered a lot today. Let's look at this last poll where we at. 72% that nuts believe that another NBA team will offer IQ a starter's role. Yep. And that's over 100 votes again. So definitely, I agree with that. I think he will. I don't think we're going to be able to keep Emmanuel Quickley long term. I honestly don't think so. I think he's going to go to another team. That's why I'm not worried about Deuce McBride. I think he's going to get his shot. I don't think we'll be able to keep him. I think he's going to be an NBA starter somewhere, and it's not going to be with the Knicks. Okay, because you just signed Jalen Brunson to 4 years. Emmanuel Quickley's not going to wait 4 years for his shot. He's just not going to do it. I don't see it. Not when somebody's going to offer him money to come play somewhere else. Okay, so we'll see what happens. I would be surprised if we were able to keep him and extend it without him being a starter. We'll see. But I think he'll be an NBA starter somewhere. Yeah. I would think the same thing about Obi, but I just think Obi is more comfortable in New York, and it's more important for him to stay in New York. That's what I think. It's more important for him to wear the uniform and be in New York. Obi's a lover of the orange and blue. And so I can see him staying here even if he's not a starter. Okay. But so the Giants are 2-0. We're getting those reports. All right. Let me go check that out. And check out my dad. But y'all, please be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I want to thank all of y'all for making this so much fun and for being part of Knicks Nation, for talking basketball today with Knicks Nation. Here come the season. It's coming on. We're going to be doing I'm going to be doing some videos on like Mitchell Robinson coming up as the starter, what we can expect from Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein coming off the bench. We're going to be talking about him coming up. We got all of that coming up this week. And whatever news hits, we're going to see what happens. If there's any real news that hits this week, like a trade, we'll be dealing with that. But I want to thank you all for your support. Again, very, very grateful for the support from Knicks Nation. Very grateful for the support. My brother Ruel, is Imana in here? Imana is not in here. Any of y'all in the Florida, Orlando area, we got to get together soon. I miss my man Ruel. I think I haven't seen you in like 3 weeks, right? And so maybe you and me, Imana, well, just to let y'all know, I guess we got to make an announcement. Brother Ruel, don't we got to make an announcement? We got tickets, man. It's not, I don't know if it's floor level, right, Brother Will, but it's close. It's in the 100 section of the Knicks against Orlando on February 7th. We got it's like in the 100 section. We close to the floor. Like we just got them the other day. Orlando against the Knicks in Orlando on February 7th. We got those tickets the other day, and we got the VIP parking and all that. We did, man. I'm so psyched. We get ready to go there, right, my man? My man Ruel, myself, and brother Imana Bakash, we get ready to do that thing, man. We get ready to do that thing. So any of y'all trying to get down, yeah, we going in February, man. Any of y'all trying to get down? It's February 7th. We done already got the tickets, Blair. They were going fast, yo. They were going fast. I had to get the tickets that day. They were moving so fast. I mean, they were moving fast, man. But we got them on in section 100. Oh Lord, we're gonna be all right, man. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. Yes. We're gonna be all right. Yeah, like 12 rows on the floor, something like that. We in good shape. I really wouldn't want to be right on the floor, but I like that section we in, man. I like that section we in. So if y'all want to do a game, if y'all want to get together at some point, bring it to the email. And we could definitely discuss that. And yeah, we got ours at Ticketmaster. We got ours. They were going fast, man. They were going fast. So we got to see what happens. But Thank you all again for being hanging in. And let's continue to roll with the Knicks. They starting the training camp next week. I'm excited, y'all. I know y'all excited. The season getting ready to start. Here we go. Hey, we got our cable in here. I just got the new TV in the TV room. We ready to go, y'all. We ready to go. My man Mana, my man Ruel, whoever else is in the Orlando area, let's connect. Let's connect. Oh, definitely cheaper than New York. Definitely cheaper than New York. I could not get these tickets in New York. I think I got these tickets for like a quarter of what they would cost in New York. Something like that. Yeah. I got these tickets for like a quarter of what they cost in New York. You know, so I still ain't buying their food though, because I think they're gonna be outrageous. You know what I'm saying? Well, we got to get dinner either before or after the game, because I ain't buying the food in there. Them people crazy. You know what I mean? Them people crazy. So we'll figure out something. But y'all be safe out there. That's right, my dogs. Y'all be safe out there. Blessings to you. We'll definitely connect. Shalom.